good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Thank you for joining this session. It's all about the customer success and how it helps the organization to change the ways of working. Before I start the presentation, a short introduction about myself. I'm a customer success director based in Singapore for Software AG. I've been working in the industry for past 18 years in various roles. I started my career as a developer and then as an architect, leading a large IT team as um, also leading a pre-sales team. And for past 1.5 year, I am responsible to build the customer success organization at Software AG. Software AG is a product company. We are mainly focused on the IoT integration and business solutions. Um, Please feel free to reach out to me and connect with me on LinkedIn. I would like to connect with all the powerful women attending this webinar. Today's session is I'm going to mainly talk about what is a customer success driven engagement approach. Why is it important? Why the organization embracing this approach, and what is in it for women, why it's a great profession for women. So if I start with the first topic, which is uh, what is a customer success driven engagement approach? Isn't that something all of us are doing? All the product and the services company, they put the customer in the center all the time, right? We do the sell the services for the customers. We build the products for our customers. So the customer is in the center, isn't it? How do we do that? How do we engage with the customers? We have a sales team. They reach out to the customers, showcase all the product features, show them how our products can solve their business problems or IT problems. We once they sign the deal, they write a big check to the company. We have our professional services stepping in. The professional services team will be explaining them how to configure the software, how to implement the software, going in live in production. And once that milestone is complete, we move on to the next one, which is a maintenance and the support engagement. Maintenance and support will help you maintain your software or help you with any technical problems that you have while using the product. And then comes our renewals time, where let's say the contract that you purchased is maybe for 1 year, 3 year, or 5 year duration. And then the salesperson would work with the customer to renew the contract. So that's our traditional approach, right? And what's wrong with that? Nothing, because that's something we have been doing for years. However, there are certain challenges with this approach. This approach is mainly focused on the customer engagement based on the milestones. So, salespeople or any organization, they are focused on the customers, our own sales KPI, and not what customers' KPIs are or what customer outcomes are. It's more like a reactive approach. So whenever customer needs a professional services, they reach out to the organization. When the organization needs a support, when the customer needs a support, they reach out to the support organization, and so on. So it's a very reactive approach where we miss out on the early signs of customer unhappiness. And why is it important to understand the early signs of customer unhappiness? Because as the industry is moving to the subscription and the SaaS based model where customers have a lot of choice, there are a lot of customers, they can subscribe to the SaaS based solution where the renewal could happen every month. They pay per use. Sometimes the usage is even for free. You try the software for a year, maybe 100 licenses are free for first year, or maybe for 6 months, depending on whatever the vendor offers to the customer. In this kind of a model, since the customer has a lot of options, they might churn from one software vendor to another software vendor, and that will definitely impact the organization's overall revenue, right? And that's not definitely a customer centric approach. This is more like still organization centric approach. So, what do we do now? So, the customer success driven approach is something that's being adopted by many large organizations. Salesforce is one of the pioneers of the customer success driven engagement approach, where the focus is all on the customer, what the customer is looking for, and what are their KPIs. So, let's look at this. How do we, what is it? We try to understand what's the customer's business case is. When they purchase a software, there is always a business case around it. There must have been a pain point, there must have been an objective, why they want to particularly what they want the product to solve the problem as. In this particular approach, we try to understand what are their drivers, what are their success KPIs. We engage with the customer proactively, regularly engaging with different stakeholders. We do use analytics mechanism to review their usage and consumption trends, how well they are using the product. Are they using it right way? Are they using all the licenses that they have purchased? Help them adopt the software. Do you know how to use a certain functionality? You maybe you're not using it, but it's apt for your requirement. And being an advisor to the customer throughout their entire journey. At the same time, keeping a tab on what the customer experience is, what are they feeling, what are their pain areas, what is their major feedback for different organization or different organizational departments. And why is it important? Because as we engage with the customer on a periodic basis, first of all, we understand any organizational strategic changes that they have. We would understand that early on. So, for example, I came across a situation where um, there was a customer and they were not very aptly engaged with the organization, and there was a huge organizational change on their side. The new CIO walks in and he says, you know, why do we have this software? I can do this using my Excel. I don't want to pay to this organization millions of dollars just to maintain my processes. And that's very easy. The customer would churn. Is this something that we want? No. So in this particular approach, we know that there has been organizational changes on the customer side. The new C level, their direction is different. They had defined a business case, their priorities when they purchase the software. Maybe they have changed during that entire engagement journey. We can understand the early signs of churn and we can try to prevent it. At the same time, when focusing on the product usage, so as the customer is using the product more, the more they use it, the more consumption they are having. That means they realize a more value out of our product. That means they will be renewing contract automatically. So the renewal becomes like just an activity. It's less like another milestone in the engagement journey. It's not like account executive going in and negotiating the contract. No, it just becomes easy process. At the same time, we focus on the revenue growth because retention is important. As at the same time, we want to grow the account as well. Maybe they purchase 100 licenses in the beginning. We want to increase that base. We want to upsell. We want to cross sell. And this time, we are not going to the customer saying that, you know what, I have a new product which has 10 features and that will be useful. No, the proposition is based on the value. Because you have this particular business case, we do understand your criterias, your priorities. We think that this particular software is going to solve your problem. So the pitch entire paradigm of engaging with the customer is different. So how does it look like typically? Typically, the customer would purchase. So that's what we call the account executive landing an opportunity, and the customer success team focusing on the adoption, expansion, and the renewal. But this is again an internal view, right? This is for an organization. You're not going to go to a customer and say, you know what, you landed my software last week and I want to do an expansion. That's not going to fly. So, what we do from the customer's perspective, we try to map this entire journey of land, adopt, expand, and renewal into your days. So we transform the story and say, okay, now since you have bought the software, let's sit together and plan how you will be using this particular software. And this is like a joint activity. One person is not going to do this, right? It's a combined activity. Now, who is going to do all this? It sounds good, but we need a dedicated team to carry out this particular activity, right? And that's when a new profession is formed called a customer success managers. What is a customer success manager's role? The customer success manager's role is to make sure that you understand why, at first place, customer purchased the software. What are their KPIs? You engage with the executive stakeholders regularly to showcase the value that they derive out of the software. At the same time, focus on their adoption and the usage. Also, giving them the industry best practices, giving them customer references, because we all know that our customers like to hear from the industry best practices, other customers, right, who are the pioneers, how has been their journey, what were their challenges. So as a CSM, you will be responsible for that. Also defining that entire engagement plan. So you're not leaving the customer alone in that journey. You are telling them that you purchase the software, and if your renewal is after 1 year, what is you will be doing in this 1 year. So you have a very well defined crafted plan, so that you can early on identify any risk that you foresee, whether it's or external or customer related dependency, right? Maybe sometimes customers have outsourced their IT department to another vendor, and there are challenges there. So at least you are able to identify those. At the same time, on the overall, and this experience is not just about the product, but it's also about the software, product, software, and services. So basically, you try to understand how the customers holistically, the experience has been engaging with different stakeholders within the organization, and you try to improve on that experience. So let's say if there is a feedback on the product management, you go back to the product management team, try to enhance your product. If there's a feedback on the support team, you go and work with the support organization, and so on, the services, and so on. So imagine it's like this. I always define a customer success as outcome plus experience. So imagine you are traveling in Uber from one place to another place, and you travel, your driver drives you there, right? So your outcome is achieved. Okay, you have achieved that. But how has been your experience? There is one Uber driver who would walk in and say, "Good morning, good afternoon, ma'am," and they may play your favorite music. They may even greet you when you leave and maybe give you a card and so on. Versus there is another Uber driver who would just pick you up and would just drop you off. Which one would you remember? The one who treated you well, right? So the customer success has to focus on both outcome as well as experience. Now, what are the skills that is required? Do I need to be a product expert to be a customer success manager? No. Do I need to be a technical consultant? No. But what I would definitely require is to, at a high level, understand what is customers' business challenge, what are the technical challenges, how my product will help them address those challenges. You need to have a very good communication skill, because you will be engaging with different different levels in the organization. So is extremely important. Sometimes you may have to push back and advise the customer on that certain limitations that you have, either on the product side or on the services side. It requires a lot of collaboration within the organization. Let's say you will be interacting with the marketing team. For, let's say you have a good customer reference, you'll be collaborating with the marketing team, or with the product management team, or with the support team, professional services team, account executives. When you see a new deal on the table, you'll be talking to the account executive, and they will be engaging with the customer on the commercials and the contractual discussion. So it's very important as a CSM to have that smooth handover or a transition, keeping everyone aligned on what the customer has been looking for. Being a customer's trusted advisor is equally important, because you should be seen as someone customer can always rely on. Whether you, it's not necessary that you always have a solution to all the problems, but having that trust and the relationship with the customers, where you believe that customer would believe that even if I have a problem, if the person doesn't know the solution, they'll definitely help me find a solution. At the same time, showing the empathy for the customer is extremely important, because I've sometimes seen, when as in my role as a customer success director, when I engage with the customers, sometimes they are furious, they are frustrated because they don't know how to use the product. They believe it's not helping, maybe their experience with other department is not good. So showing that empathy to the customer becomes extremely important. Why this is a great profession for women, I personally believe, it's a whole new profession. It's a growing profession. There are a lot of companies which are adopting to this customer success driven engagement approach. We all know SAP is one of those. SAP has even a board member who is looking at the customer success as a function altogether. And she's leading the recurring. She's responsible for the recurring revenue for all the customer success organization. Other companies like Oracle, Microsoft, Google, even Software AG, we are embracing this paradigm shift of traditional engagement approach to the driven engagement approach. So there are not many gender stereotypes available at in the particular profession. At the same time, I believe the soft skill that you require for this profession is something that the women persisted highly. There is a high degree of emotional quotient. The role requires a multitasking. Some executives in the morning, helping a customer debugging some problems in the afternoon, or helping them coordinating their training schedule, or working with another customer and trying to make sure that their go live milestones are on schedule. So there are a lot of multitasking required in this particular role. And that's why I believe there is a high possibility of growing through the rank, and you have a chance to make a direct impact on the company's top line. That's all for today's presentation. I'm happy to take any questions that you may have. If not, you can always feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn, and we can definitely connect and have even a detailed discussion if you like. Thank you, Rajshri. Thank you very much. Any questions? All right. Thank you very much, ladies, for joining the session. It was really nice meeting you here, and I wish you a very nice day ahead. Thank you.